once again, MEDRASH EICHAH, ZOHAR CHADASH, page Taf Reish Nun. We're just going to read up above to get into the next part, a little warm-up. Again, this Zohar is setting a mood for us and trying to get us into the understanding of what we've lost. So I said, it begins with the word keden. Keden, then mitchos shefulish mashkana, down below the floors at the depth of the Holy Temple. Kam Yom de Merira, arose a day of bitterness. Yom de Bechi, of crying. Yom de Tza'ar, of pain. Yom de Ik, Rechamuhumo, Bevuso, Bevucho. All these different words of breaking and falling apart. And they went, I guess, Va'al, that is the enemy, Bego Mashkana, into the temple, V'shetze, and they destroyed it, and they metamed it, they were making it tame. Ribona de Mashkana, what happened to the masker of the Mishkan? Normally that refers to Zair Anpin, or maybe it refers to Malchus and Zair Anpin, I'm not sure. It moved, started moving, and ran away. They started the Gochel Mosova, and was turned itself away banished itself from the place where it dwelled. The gold tour the Labar into a mountain that's on the outside, the gold tour the Harov into a mountain that was destroyed. Umashkana is Charev, and also the place and the house itself, and it was all destroyed. Now let's go over to this one. This one, I read the Matak Medavash as well. Try to understand what he's saying. So he says, Levasa Nachas Haku Yoma Yilod Istalik. So he says there was such a thing as a day, and now he describes what he means, this day that left. Achakach Yored Osach of Yoma Elyon. So went down this Yom HaElyon, which is Zair Anpin. Shenistalak Lamala Elakaser, who had really left altogether from this place and went all the way up to the source of everything, which is Keser. And he came down and to cry over the fact that his Shechinah, his Malchus, his Nuk, had separated herself from him. She was gone. Shol al mashka the chabachal is Charev. V'hu shol, so he asked al mashkana. He asked on this place, at the place. Shuhu habai beis MEDRASH, makom hashros hashchina, which is the place where the Shechinah dwells. He has this word hashros. It's like I don't know. Well, anyway, I don't know. I'm sure exactly how you say that way, but she dwells there. V'hinei nechera, but it's been destroyed. Her place is destroyed. Al va'ashgach al marid mashkana. Nikdas v'hebid al adam mishkan. So he went and he looked. He looked for the master of the Mishkan. Who's the master of the Mishkan? The Hainu al matronisach rekimtach denavshe. Shehi Shechinah, the Shechinah that he loved so much, Ha'uva the Nafsho, who is the loved soulmate of his that he seeks, of his soul. He is the Rachas, but she's gone. She's been sent away, Ubarcha, and she ran away. V'kol ben Yana Sasir, and all of her structure that she had, the place where she dwelt inside of, is gone. V'chol ben Yada Shuhu HaBeis HaMikdash, and the hair has been destroyed. Keden. So then, Sha'ari Lemigay Goa Basar Goa Oz Hiskil Zair Anpin Litzoki begin to cry and cried Saka Zaka Sa'acha over and over again. B'Nehimo the Tarnagola B'Al Nukve. It's the same thing. I don't know. This Nehemus, I guess this means the crow or the sound of a Tarnagola, the rooster, that he's lost with when he has lost his al nekevaza shebarchel, the manner that ran away from him. Hadochu dechsev. This is the meaning of this. Zecher shekasav makarker kir. What's makarker kir mean? So he says that Milos Mekarker, Meforish Rash explains this over the Masechtas Tainis. Shehu Lashon Yolola, it's a Lashon of wailing. The Hainu Nehim Katarnagolas, that is the wailing of the sound like a rooster. Shanochem Katarnagol, like a rooster. Milas Kir, what does Kir mean? Pirusha Maloshan Yavon, so its explanation is a Greek word. Rebone, so he said, Rebone Shlita Adin Vishalim Shahu Zair Anpin, that is the master, which is Zair Anpin. So now he says in this morning that we're going up through here now, and we're saying Ve'efsher O Lefarish as Maimach and Nizkar. So maybe we can explain what we said previously. He said when going back to the first bias, when our sins overtook us, and this base of Mikdash was destroyed. Hine be'ez ha'churban atzmo yardach malchus acharecha yisod Zair Anpin. So at the time of the destruction, where there was originally a yichud in the base of Mikdash, I'm trying to understand what he says here. Malchus goes back behind the yisod of Zair Anpin. Now that is where she originated. That's her original place. Avaltesha Spheros Alyonas, but the other 10 Spheros, the other 9 Spheros, Shabbat that are contained within Malchus, Lo Yarda the Klipos, they did not go down into the Klipos. Now this is the story that we hear all the time about Malchus at midnight going down into Bia, which is the Klipos. So he says, Shabbat Lo Yardo the Klipos Kamo Shechoya Becheto Shal Adam Rishon. So now he's telling me something else. He's telling me that the secret of at the time of Adam Rishon, he fell all the way down. All of his 10 spheros fell down. Ela Allah Lamala Batoch Shaar Shechinah Shebezair Anpin, but rather instead that they went back into their root, which is in Zair Anpin. So let's say that if Malchus would not have, this is a different perspective than the way that we normally see this process. He said, if she had not minimized herself so tremendously like this, the Hachrev as base of Migdash, so that the Shechinah fell down. Let me just read this again to see if I understand. I'm sorry. That is what? Is that her Malchus fell down. I think he's talking about the base of Migdash being destroyed. The Hachrev as base of Migdash, then the enemy would not have been able to destroy. Ak amna mchazor of Beteshes spheres Elyonas shall Malchus lehis alem lamala, but the other 9 became completely hidden b'shorsham, which is Zair Anpin, which is from their root in Zair Anpin. Zair Anpin is mashpia to the Nuk, the Gevuros. So Zair Anpin, so all of the aspects of the Nuk except for one fell completely. Departed completely. So therefore they weren't there that the Klipos could get a hold of them. So what part of us does the Klipos have? The Klipos have the Malchus of our Malchus, which is the metaphor for midnight, which is, I guess that's midnight then, this is midnight, talking about these 3 weeks and the destruction. Amnam takef acher ha-churban, and immediately when the churban took place, she came back and she was a little bit masuka, meaning what? She was moving up. But even so that she moved closer, I'm not sure what that meant, what it means by being closer. Even so, she made into the galus gama was considered like she was in still a complete galus. So there's some aspects of Malchus, that fell into the klipos. And he says, V'hi sod hashkina shaholkul begalus. This is the concept of the aspect of the Shechinah which is with us in galus. Ayin sham on bekadavarm. So there's more to be said over there. He said of od move b'shar Hakavanot and Drush Aleph Talmida. What does he say? Shaham malchus the malchus yardach of the olam abriya. That's the part that went into bria. Because Lila, we know this every single night. Besod galus Shechinah, which is I guess it's a micro look at the galus of the Shechinah that took place at the time of the Beis HaMikdash when it was destroyed. Of the siyata d'shmaya b'chagdama zu efsher lefaresh as maimer hanizker, that it's possible to explain what is being said. Now let's look where we have time here. Let's look a little bit more. Masha kasav v'shoa elahar. What does shoa elahar means? Hainu avid shua v'tzavacha v'tzavach l'gabi Torah. So now he's talking about, he says, Zair Anpin, Osa Shoah Vitzoak, he made a tremendous cry out. Elahar, to the mountain itself, Shuhum Makom HaKitzaynim Kanizkar, which is really, let's think about it. As I just saw a video about a man who was in the 6-Day War when they went into Jerusalem, and he's saying, the walls are just walls. It's the other side of the walls. But we have to be zeicha to that. So he says, Zair Anpin osa sho b'tzoich alahar. He cries out at the mountain, shu makom ha'kitzayim, which is the most outer part. The arkas taman matranisa shebarchel v'sham hashchina. So he says he's talking about the mountain where the Shechinah ran to. Aved shavach v'tzvach v'kravach v'dehima d'bechia eicho. Where are you? Zair Anpin osa show. He makes a tremendous cry out. V'tzoach v'kora, and he screams out and he says like this. He says, "B'nehima's bechia is with the breath in his cry. I guess his cry out. Eicho, where are you? Beforish eicho rechimtach denafshe. Eifa, where is the chavhuvas nafshi, the love of my life, the love of my soul? Shehi hashchina, which is the Shechinah, hanikbras kain, who is called the love of my soul. Besod avarapinimius, let's get it again, which is the secret of the interior ava, shel devekus rucha barucha. Now he brings us into a new idea. We have a few minutes. Let me just try to work it out. So he said, where are you? Eifahi ahuvas nafshi. She has Shechinah. Hanikras came. Why is she called the huvas nafshi? Now, nefesh is a certain level of yichud, yed nefesh to nefesh. Here he says, Kain besod ava hapinimi. So what is the really internal ava, love? Shel devegus, that is of the Zair Anpin and the Nuk. It's the vekus he calls here rucha barucha. His breath to her breath. That's why I'm going to translate rucha right now. Shehu sod hayichud in the shikin, which is the secret of the yichud in the shikin. Iga shav ninis shlemasi. He, she is. He says the word shninis, shnina. It means tor, dove. Shall tamasi. She is my mate. She is the dove of my match. Besod yichud gufa begufa, and that statement refers to a different level of yichud, a yichud of body to body, kishtei sorim, like two separate doves. Harumazim al Torah shebechsav, and he says this is the matak MEDRASH now. He says that this is a remez to the Torah shebechsav, the Torah shebal peh, which are opposites in a way. They're male and female, let's say, and as a result of that, their wedding is the ultimate yichud of these Torah. Masha kaza shlemasi. What does that mean? Chayla shezer anpin mishtalam al yada, vihi mishtalemes imo. So they become one with each other. Eicha yechidasi didi. Where is the one and only for me? In other words, my other part, my match, the part that I'm missing. Haino Says that what is the match? The match is the innermost aspect of Malchus. That part which is the real clinging together, which is able to make a complete oneness with the interior, and he's using the word penimius, of Tiferes. Their essence. Essence is wedding. Besod Hadas, which is how does that wedding take place? It takes place through the flow that comes through Das. This Yachid imi beYehuda, shenis Yachid imi beYichud, when we were one, we complete oneness. Hainu HaYichud mamish besod Yichud shel Kriya Shema, that is, what oneness are we talking about? It's the oneness that we find when we say the Kriya Shema. Hamagia ad Ein Sof, which is able to reach, is that I guess he means the Arba Mises base then. I'm not sure exactly what he means. But there certainly is a Yichud that takes place in Kriya Shema, because it says Hashem Echad. So he says the Kriya Shema, Hamagia ad Ein Sof, and that is able to bring us all the way up to the Ein Sof. So he says, Eichah da'havach v'natach b'kol yom chamesh ve'esrim asvan the Yehuda. Ayeh Shechinah, where is she? Shechoised lokeches, because this is the shefa that she received. B'kol yom, now where does he get this? 25 osios shel yichud Shema Yisrael, the 25 letters, there are 20, in the Shema Yisrael, there's 25 letters. So he said, where does she receive B'kol yom kof he osios shel yichud Shema Yisrael? This Korea is Ko, and as a result of that, she's called by the name Ko al-Dor. Vehi anikras Ko al-Shem Zeh. So Malchus is called by that name. I guess maybe also means this Yichud that's taking place here is called by the name 25. Al-Shem Zeh. V'zecha she'amar Zair Anpin Ayeh Ko. Where is Ayeh, the 25? Shehi notrikon Ayeh Kof He. That's just a little stylish thing, or something. Maybe the Mata Bedavash had that. I know that reading his biography as best I could, he spent most of his life in Meron or different places where Kabbalists came, and just kept going over different ideas that were getting ideas from the Zohar. So anyway, from other people, I said other Mekubalim that came there. Then he said more things. He said things of love towards the Shechinah. Achasi, brati, imi, achosi. So he used these words. So my daughter, my mother, my sister. My daughter, imi, my mother, heimsod gimel yehudim sheyesh the Zair Anpin in the Malchus. So this is what we're talking about in 3 different stages of yichud that takes place with Malchus. Echad besod itra al rosho. I said it, I think it should be atara al rosho. That she becomes a crown on top of his head. What is that? That is the ability of Malchus to go on top, to make an aliyah to Bina. That she winds up going on top of the head of Zair Anpin, and that becomes, instead of being, let's say, fed by him, she's on top of him. So he said, Ko Omer Eishas Chayil Ataras Bala. So that's the idea. She becomes this woman that has the ability, that is what woman? The woman, the Shechinah, the Malchus, has the ability to go to Bina. She becomes a crown on the head of her husband. She's Zair Anpin, she's above him. V'hazhin the kasheres ima Bina, there at that place she makes a kasher with Bina. Shehi imo, which is his mother. That's why he used that word, the phrase where he also called Malchus his mother. When she's in her husband's womb, what was that wrong word? Breast, hugged at his breast. He achoso shavalos, then she becomes his height. She is equal to him, and therefore she's at the same level like a sister. But then when she's back below him or receiving from him, she's like his daughter, and he's feeding her and giving her what she needs. But all of these 3 different aspects. First he had the mother, then he had the daughter, he had the mother, let me see, was it and then he saw his sister, mother, sister, daughter. He says, this rachakul begalus, that she became separated, distant from him in this galus. So therefore he said to her, where did you go? I guess it's holecha, holacht. That she doesn't arouse, that there was no yichud aroused, nothing that would bring them together, b'fnei hislav shusa begalus, because she is now clothed. It's like she's trapped in the web, the spider web, or the web of galus, and she can't come to him. Vod kol eis he yoredes yoser. But then now, as we go along and as the world continues to turn, she goes down more, as misrachekes yoser, and she becomes more distance from him. V'chalizecha be'amal panisa the mehach, ana panisa panis leleches kedei the hisrachek yoser, besod sukos David hanofeles tamid. So he says tamid. So she becomes distant, this process of separating from her husband. And we see the forces, it's all over, the forces that are attacking marriages all the time. So he says, Ana panis the leches, I've turned to go, yoser, in order to get further away. We're being pulled apart. So Sukkah's David hanofeles tamid, that is the Sukkah, the structure of David, in which he dwelt. David is actually Lashon Malchus. The hanofeles tamid, but he says the word tamid, it continuously falls. So therefore we have, this has been in the middle of a conversation between the Bnei Eretz Yisrael, the Bnei Babel. So therefore the people of Eretz Yisrael say to the people of Babel, Anan d'shmoyim b'kol yoma karkurach the Rebbananu. Ana sheshomim, we who are in Eretz Yisrael, that we hear a kol yom every single day. Hayalolach hazos, this tremendous wailing, shel Adonenu shehi Shechinah. Now almost our master, he sees the Shechinah. The Shechinah longs for Zair Anpin, just as Zair Anpin cries over the Shechinah. Shechinah long yos the mivkei. So for us, it's proper, it's right. The mivkei, yos the miskei. It's proper the misbade, and to eulogize. Lana roy livchos, lana roy lispod. So he said, lon youz the miftach echo. So he translates, lana roy lifasa liftoach, to open up, to begin. V'lomer EICHAH, to say echo, where are you? Okay, I guess that's the share for today. Thanks for learning with me. I hope to be back in Boca Raton tonight. Call to